All right, everybody, good Wednesday morning. It's time for yet another recommended watch schedule for college football this week. And this week, I can tell you, I didn't see a lot interesting before Saturday. There are games, maybe even some decent games, but in terms of like prospect watching, I didn't notice a heck of a lot. So take it easy until then, because once you get to Saturday, there's going to be a lot going on. There's some really good, really compelling games and we're gonna need to be locked in here to keep up. We are getting to the midnight hour here. We are getting to the end where we're really gonna have to reach some pretty big conclusions about these players. So, week 11 of college football, let's take a look here. Saturday, 9 a.m., we got two games that I highly recommend watching. On Fox, we have Michigan playing Penn State. This is a big game just in general and there are a lot of fun prospects to watch. Michigan, I said this before. Michigan probably has some other players I'm not even listing here who are good to watch for prospect purposes, but just that I know of off the top of my head, just that I've listed here J.J. McCarthy, Zach Zinter, Chris Jenkins, Junior Colson, and Rod Moore. Those are five guys that I have a very keen eye on going forward. Big fan of really all five of the, well, not a big fan, but at the very least, a very intrigued observer in all five of those guys. And then Penn State, really good team. This is a good game in general. Theo Johnson and Curtis Jacobs are two semi sleepers that I like, especially Theo Johnson, athletic freak who just isn't really getting very much draft attention yet because his production isn't there. Okay. So that's the one 9 a.m. game. That's the big one. The other game I would recommend would be on ABC, Georgia Tech playing the Clemson Tigers. Georgia Tech, not a lot going on there this year that I'm intrigued by, but Clemson, when Clemson's on, I want to see what's up. You've got Orahoro and Tyler Davis on the defensive line. You've got Trotter Jr. and Barrett Carter at linebacker. And you've got Andrew Makuba at safety. I didn't even mention Wiggins, their cornerback, because I'm not really looking at cornerbacks this year. But this lineup of defensive talent alone is pretty much always gonna be a contender for must watch TV. And by the way, Cade Klubnik, their quarterback, has a chance to be a top prospect in the 2025 or 2026 draft. So if you want to get a head start, you can start keeping an eye on him too. I know he's not playing that well, but there's immense potential there. And that's what I would recommend for the 9 a.m. window. So now we're going to move to the early afternoon here, where this is where the Huskies will play. Now, we we're not going to recommend the Huskies this week because we usually do. I'm going to be watching that game anyway, of course, because I watch every Huskies game and I do the watch along. But I'm going to list a couple games that aren't Husky games, even though that one's obviously a very good one. 12:30 p.m. we have a monster game in terms of prospects. It's not really a monster game any other way now though because Miami really isn't playing that well, but 12:30 ABC, the Hurricanes play the Seminoles. Miami, I mean Van Dyke has fallen on his face pretty badly. He's really not playing well, which I mean that could be Cristobal, but I feel like we're at the point where we have to acknowledge there's just something else going on with Van Dyke that it has nothing to do with the coaching. It's him. And then you've got Javion Cohen, left guard. I still like him. Leonard Taylor, defensive lineman. Still like him. And then they got their two safeties, James Williams and Kinchins. There's still a lot of fun stuff on this Miami team. They're just not playing well. And then Florida State, of course. Jordan Travis, Jaheim Bell, and you throw Jared Verse in there as well. By the way, Jordan Travis, I've mentioned this before, really starting to grow on me and got to continue to keep an eye on him as this year goes on and see what he does as Florida hits the home stretch. Now, the other 12:30 game I have here, there's only two guys in this game, but one of the guys is one of my favorites, and the other guy is kind of a late bloomer that I want to get some serious watching in on. So 12:30 CBS, you've got Tennessee with Joe Milton, who I continue to be really into, playing Missouri. Now, this is a good game. Tennessee's, I think, 12th, and Missouri's 13th in the country. So this is a very good game. But you throw in Tyron Hopper, a linebacker who's really starting to grow on me, And even though it's only two prospects, I think this is a game that's hard to pass up. Joe Milton against a really good defense. Tyron Hopper against a good offense. Well, sometimes. So, yeah, I'm definitely watching that. Okay, now we get to the 4 p.m. window, and we've got Ole Miss, a very good team this year that just doesn't really have any prospects that I'm into, except maybe their tight ends, which that's a deep reach right now. Deep, deep, deep reach. But they're playing Georgia. So that's kind of a must-watch game anyway because it's two really, really good teams. And this is maybe the point where Georgia slips up. If they're going to slip up, Ole Miss is a great contender to slip them up on. And Georgia, of course, still has Van Pran, still has Nazir Stackhouse, Mondin Jr., Johnson Dumas, Bullard. They're still Georgia, 4 p.m. ESPN. But there are multiple reasons why I would highly recommend watching this game. Okay, 4:30 p.m. on ABC, so almost the same time you've got Texas against TCU. Not great anymore. It would be a lot better if Quinn Ewers was playing, but you've still got Jatavion Sanders. You've got the man himself, the nose tackle to die for, Mr. Sweat, Tavondre, the man, and Jalen Ford. So there's still enough to go around. And TCU, of course, has Coleman, right guard. Kind of lost interest in him a little bit lately, but still lingering around as an interesting prospect. And then we've got one late game that caught my attention, and this is a big Pac-12 game. Although, realistically, it's not even really that big of a game anymore because USC keeps losing. You got USC against Oregon. Caleb, I mean, he's just fun to watch. I know that the Seahawks are never going to draft him in a million years, but he's fun to watch. You got Bullock, the safety. Maybe. I mean, that's possible, right? Like, Bullock's really good. He's probably going to be a second-round pick. And then, of course, Oregon with Bo Nix, with Brandon Dorlus, and with Jordan Birch. So it's a pretty good game, even accepting the fact that Caleb is going to be the number one overall pick and be gone well before we can even consider selecting anybody. So that's my recommended watch schedule for week 11. There are other good games as well, for sure. Like Alabama's game is actually pretty compelling. Good prospects in that one. I had to leave them out. Washington's game is good because even, Utah's a really good team. A good test for the Washington offense. But a lot of the top prospects in that game are also players that I'm only kind of sort of into. So it's one of those things where, I mean, I'm going to watch the game. I don't know how much I can recommend it personally to a impartial observer. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you disagree. Let me know if you think I missed anything. And yeah, we're swinging in to week 11 of college football. And here's how I'd recommend tackling it.